Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok family. How you doing this morning? This is your brother Good Music JB coming to you with just a few tips and tricks that you can use if you're teaching a new student or that's never played the saxophone, or you're just a new student that's never played the saxophone. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and cheat and look at my notes real quick. All right, so the first thing I wanted to speak on was mouth placement on the mouthpiece. So sometimes you'll get a new student who's they're getting a very honky type of sound, or they're struggling to get a sound out the horn at all. So for that situation, if your sound is honky and is kind of all over the place, generally the student is taking too much of the mouthpiece in their mouth. So you'll have to pull out some. Vice versa, if you're struggling and you're trying to play, and you're not really getting a sound out, then more than likely you don't have enough of the mouthpiece in your mouth. And I know that could be very very stressful for the new students and for the teachers as well, because you always want your student to be able to produce a sound early within the lessons to just make them feel confident that they can actually do this. I'm gonna go ahead, look at my cheat sheet again. Reads. So for reads, especially with the younger students, elementary age, more so even up to middle school, they really don't think about changing their reads, and they will literally run a reed down in the ground. They will play the same reed to the readers their age. So like they will play a reed forever. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure you remind your students to get a fresh box of reeds. Make sure that they're changing their reeds, every few weeks. Because also the reed can have a lot of effect on your sound, just in general. Just in general, you have a lot of problems with the reeds if your reed's not good. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, and I noticed I didn't see it online much. I've been online studying, and I honestly didn't see anybody speak on this, but it's putting the mouthpiece on the neck. So a lot of people, especially early students, they will put the neck onto the horn and then put the mouthpiece on. What that can do is slowly bend your neck, because you never know how much pressure somebody else is using to put something on their instrument. Especially with the younger kids, they might feel like they need to use extra energy or extra strength, and slowly they're like compressing and pushing in their neck, which is a heck of a problem to try to fix, or you end up having to buy a new neck. So you definitely want to teach your students that when they're assembling their horn, they need to put the mouthpiece onto the neck and then put the mouthpiece and the neck connected onto the horn. You don't want any damage with your horn. It'll instantly change your sound. Um, Also, for our sax teachers, and I know it's hard sometimes to judge someone's finances, but you don't want your student starting off on like a crappy horn right now. Like, I don't know, 15 years ago when I started playing saxophone, it was only a few horns. It wasn't too many different model horns that was new, you know, for beginners. Um, but usually those horns come with a mouth. Usually brand new horns come with a mouthpiece. So what happens is, if your student, especially now we have all these cheap overseas made horns that they sound terrible. You could buy an alto for $80, $100. You don't want. First of all, you don't want one of them horns. You rather try to look for a Yamaha or a Selmer, a good horn for your student to play through when they start up, if they can afford it. But generally, the mouthpiece that comes with that horn is going to be the same brand usually. And if it's a knockoff, something that's $90, I guarantee you the mouthpiece is terrible. awful. So what you want to do is, if you have a new student, you definitely want to look into the Yamaha 4C mouthpiece. That's a great mouthpiece for beginner students. I would say maybe a 1.5 or a 2 size reed. I started at 2, but you can do a 1.5 or 2. And honestly, I promote the Van Doren Redbox Java.